I have a piece of square stock in the forge right now while it's heating up. I'm going to talk to you about it a little bit. Yesterday I made a square knot out of 2 pieces of square stock. I cut it about 8 inches. I folded it around to make an eye. Then the legs I took, they were straight to begin with, but pinch it together. That's what I have my bull pin for. I can wrap it around there and it gives me a real nice pretty circle for the eye. From there, once I get the 2 legs drawn out to the length that I want, I'll take a little bit of borax, forge weld them together. That way they stay nice and closed on the end. You can see just a little line on that seam where they're forge welded. And then back up here, you might be able to see where it starts to separate back open. This is 1/4 inch square stock. I'm not worried about the forge weld blowing apart just because it's not ever going to be holding any weight. Now, if you tear this up, putting a coat on a coat rack, you bigger man than I am, because it's going to take some doing to fuck that up or ever bust that forge weld. But I'll walk y'all through how I'm forging it out. As it gets a little warmer, I got to do 6 more individual pieces that will in turn come back to 3 more hooks. With this one, it's already done. I did it yesterday, that way I could have a visual representation to show you what I'm doing. But yeah, wish me luck. We're about to get hot. Start just wrapping it around that bullpen. It doesn't take very much while it's hot, but be careful because it is still going to be hot. Max that eye down a little bit more. Come back. See how it's offset a little bit? That one's a little bit higher than the other one. Come back. Work that back down. It's nothing hard to do, but you can ruin it very easily, very quickly. Get a little cold, we'll go back in the forge, then come back, finish wrapping it, then I'll pinch the eye of it. It's got to be damn near liquid to get that nice pretty eye on it. Alright, so I took another heat. I got both of the ends lined up fairly well. Now I'm going to get this little U right here is going to be the eye. I'm going to get it all the way up to critical, maybe a little bit past it. That way it's very, very malleable. That way I can pinch it together and get it set for my forge weld. So coming out of the forge, you want it streaming hot. You should just be able to pinch it into place. That's where your wolf jaw tongs can come in handy. Or in this case, just a pair of vice grips can really help. Now, got that squared away. Now we have a nice pretty eye. From here, what I'm going to do, I'm going to start to forge weld this piece together. I can show y'all that while I'm here, but I'm going to pinch these in a little bit, that way they're real close. Then I'll show you how to flux it, get it back in the forge, get it hot, then come back and beat it down together. So for flux, when I forge weld, you don't have to have flux whenever you forge weld. It's not necessary to create a good forge weld. It's not at all. They did it for hundreds of thousands of years without it. This, just a can of borax. I know it's in a community coffee can, but it keeps pretty well here in the shop. But all you do, sprinkle you a little bit on there, come back, both sides all the way down to the end. Then we'll go back in the forge, and once it starts to boil, you'll see that borax start to boil, then you're getting pretty close to the temperature you need to be to set your forge welds. So, to set your forge welds, it doesn't take very much pressure. You don't have to beat the fire out of it, just some light quick taps. Work both sides of it. That way you keep everything nice and even. Now, this one didn't quite set. You may be able to see a little hairline gap in there. I'll flux it a little bit more. We'll go back in the fire and do the same thing. Alright, so we've got the forge weld set. Now we're just going to flatten it out, draw it out a little bit, that way I can make the hooks, and the hook that sits on the bar for where they'll slide. I'll go back through with one more heat, but you can see part of that seam, not the whole thing. It kind of blew apart on the tip, but I'm gonna come back and I'll grind that back down. That way it's nice and smooth so it doesn't catch or tear or anything when you go to hang your coat up. But I'll only draw that out a little bit more. Then I'll come back and make another one of these. Then I'll show you how I link both of them together in another video because time's kind of running short on this one. Alright, I'm about to bend that eye. I'm not going to work it over the face of the anvil because I don't want it to come back and have a whole lot of hammer marks on that eye and bend anything right there or mess anything up. All I want right now is enough room. That way I can feed another leg through that eye to make the knot itself. So, like I said, you don't quite want a full 90, but a good 65, 70-ish degrees. That way, when it lays flat, I'll take another piece of mirror image this, slide both those legs through the opposing eye. Then I'll come back and make my curls and twists, my hook and everything to make it an actual functional hook. I'm gonna go ahead and get started on the other one on my next video. Then I'll explain how I get, I'll show y'all how I link them together and then put the hook and the twist on that from there.